Hello and welcome to France 24's weekly music show. I'm Jennifer Ben Brahim. Coming up. From her gossamer vocals to honest lyrics, Chicago-born, New York-based musician KeiyaA makes music that tries to excavate what it means to be human. Her debut album garnered her praise from the likes of Solange, Jay-Z and Moses Sumney. 5 years on, she's back with her sophomore record, Hooke's Law, a genre-defying journey of self-love, and she joins me in the studio to tell us more. KeiyaA, welcome to France 24.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to have you on. I was just saying before we started that I'm obsessed with this new album. I will be delving into it a bit further, but first up, we're going to talk about one of the big releases of this week, and that's from R&B and pop legend Mariah Carey. Here for It All is her 16th studio album, and it's her first since 2018, and it's said to reflect the Grammy winner's personal journey over the past few years, the past decade, as well as her life as a mother. One of the singles off the album is called Type Dangerous, and hip-hop fans out there might recognize the sample. It's Eric B is President by 80s and 90s rap legends Eric B and Rakim. Let's take a listen.
Fresh and a sing, now I'm just playing. That was just a castle and an evil king. Made my escape, yes I had to flee. Now it's sex in the city and a couple little flings. Motorcycle man had a yen for me. Like to rush through the tunnel at a breakneck speed. Computer boy toy, he was fun for a while. Till I caught him on the web, hacking other girls' files. You know the guy say he worked construction. Turns out he was moving them pounds from custom. They wanna settle down, but I just don't trust them. They wanna love me down.
So Mariah took home Best R&B Video for that song, Type Dangerous, as well as the Honorary Video Vanguard Award. Now, the Grammy Award winner made sure to point out during her speech that this was the first time she took home a VMA, and actually asked why had it taken so long. Now, KeiyaA, are you a lamb, which is of course the name that we call Mariah fans?
Absolutely.
Were you listening to her growing up?
Absolutely. How could I not? She was everywhere on the radio and onto my TV.
Yeah, and her videos are incredible as well.
I love her videos.
Yeah.
I definitely remember the video with the booty shorts and the roller skates.
Yeah,
and the
ingrained
bubbles.
in my brain.
My favorite one. And then some of her recent stuff, like that song "Get the F Out." I run that on repeat all the time. Love it.
Yeah, she's timeless and iconic. Now we're going to go back to your latest album that's coming out soon called Hooke's Law. Now, tell me why this choice of a physics law as a title. What does it symbolize to you in your music?
It symbolizes a lot to me in my life right now. The physics term, it actually kind of came to me from this tweet from a writer from America, a Black woman named Mandy Harris Williams. And she tweeted a couple times that a downward spiral is a loaded spring. And I was like, what is that? What is that? It just sounded such like a beautiful poetic way to describe what it means to like go through depressive episodes or go through really rough times. And instead of thinking of it as like, you know, you're going down into the depths to your lowest point in life, it's sort of like fuel to push you forward. I thought that was just such a beautiful way to like motivate yourself through that time. And I just decided to Google it because I was like, this sounds like some science, some kind of science stuff.
I had to also Google. Was not good at science. Just want to raise that.
Me neither. Not my best. English and math, but not so much science for me. And I Googled it and it was like Hooke's Law, the force of a...
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to explain it, but yeah, downward spiral, loaded spring. Yeah.
Everyone Google it after the show. Now, Hooke's Law comes 5 years after your debut, which was, of course, critically acclaimed, called Forever Your Girl. And I believe that your experiences making that album and the post-release experience really were formative to the making of this new album. Tell us more about this time and how it was so influential on this new record.
Yeah, I mean, it was already a wild time for me in my life. It was like right before COVID and the world pandemic and the world lockdown. But I was kind of going through my own personal sort of, I don't want to call it a personal pandemic, but in a way it was because like I had just lost my job. I had kind of quit to avoid getting fired kind of thing. And I ran out of money eventually, got kicked out of my apartment. And I was just kind of floating around, crashing on couches, not really going out. So I already was like, oh, I need to make this album and put it on Bandcamp so I can make some money. And then after that, I blew up and got a lot of attention and support and success. But I was still sort of like in this mindset of crashing on couches and being depressed and not good enough. And it was almost like this imposter syndrome. Like I have to perform this version of myself, and the gig doesn't start when I step on stage. It starts when I open my eyes and when I wake up now. So that's why I made Milk Thought and the videos for Stupid Prizes and Take It, especially. As soon as I open my eyes, there's people in my house looking at me because that's what it felt like.
Well, you mentioned Stupid Prizes. We're going to listen to that track and have a look at that very cool video.
I can't take the blame, but I can't stay the same. And I can't play these games, and I can't play the spades. Cause I'm winning stupid prizes, and I can't use the lies of the same old lies I tried to stay alive. Tell me how I'm supposed to thrive when all I know is to survive, and all I know is to rely on high. Tell me how I'm supposed to thrive when all I know is to survive, and all I know is to rely on high.
So that was Stupid Prizes from KeiyaA's upcoming album, Hooke's Law. Now, the record is also quite political, with lyrics such as what you think about the fact the world as we know it was shaped by hate and conquering and murder overflowing. Now, this feels like a dicey time in the world, to say the least, and in a time where freedom of speech is kind of under threat, especially in the United States. Do you think it's important for artists like yourself, whether in the world of music, cinema, etc., to use their voices to speak out?
Absolutely. I think it's historically always been important, and I think artists over time, some of the biggest pop artists have always used their voice for just to express political issues and issues of the people. And I think being a Black American artist, it's like been especially important for us. And I think we live in an interesting time where there are genocides happening that are being kind of like live streamed and broadcasted right to our phones, and that's unprecedented. So I think it's even more important for us to be using our voice. And then secondly, yeah, freedom of speech is sort of like getting attacked on all fronts in an unprecedented way. But I think most importantly out of all of that, like, they're trying to erase the history, and the history is that the biggest pop artists always spoke out against issues, and now we're in this place where we're told to believe that speaking out will sacrifice your career. And so I think that's like even more of a time to speak even louder now than ever, because they're trying to silence us and they're trying to tell us that we were never using our voice to begin with.
It's important to keep that voice, loud. Now, moving on to some other music news and some positive professional and personal news for US hip-hop artist Cardi B. She was recently cleared of assault on a security guard in what was a highly publicized trial. I'm sure we all saw clips on social media of that trial. Now, she also just announced her pregnancy with her sports star boyfriend, Stefon Diggs. All this as she drops her long-awaited sophomore album, Am I, The Drama, that has actually broken records, becoming the fastest-selling album by a female rapper to be certified platinum. The album has a host of starry collaborations from the likes of Janet Jackson, Selena Gomez, Megan Thee Stallion, and KeiyaA, like we can hear on this next track, Safe.
Yeah, look, I don't need a rich nigga, just somebody that can make me feel safe. Yeah, look, I dealt with a couple niggas, but nobody ever made me feel safe like you. Facts. Cause when I'm with you, I just know I'm fine. Know I'm fine. You take all the pressure off my mind all the time. Patient and kind when I be going out my mind. Safe from the problems, I don't worry cause I'm hard.
So that was Cardi B and KeiyaA, a great video. Yeah, honestly.
So cute.
Bring us back to the 90s. Now, you mentioned earlier on that not only were you making this new record over the last 5 years, but you were actually working on an experimental play in New York called Milk Thought. Tell us about this show, and actually how did these two projects intertwine? Or did they influence each other?
Yeah, they definitely intertwine and influenced each other. Milk Thought is like, I'm hesitant to call it a play because there's not really like a formality to it, but there is dialogue. I did write a script. We are acting and dancing. It's like an experimental play. It's kind of like a live music video. It's this weird theater piece that is like an insight into like what it's like for me to spiral at home and to like navigate doing shadow work, dealing with like parts of yourself that you are afraid of or demonized. And I don't want to give it away, but there's even a point where I almost tried to myself, my other self, and then they sort of helped me come back to life, and it's like a journey of self-love similar to my album. And I started working on it because I performed here in Paris at Bourse de Commerce, and I got a little bit of budget to I had it in my mind that I wanted to work with house furniture and play in the house, and they were like, well, here's some budget, let's rent some furniture. And I improvised what became the framework for Milk Thought. And luckily, New York has so many beautiful performance residencies for younger artists, and they took a chance on me at Abrams Arts Center. And so I was able to take what was improvised here and develop it over the course of a year with a couple of collaborators. My collaborator Ava Novak on the dramaturgy front, and Lampkin on the choreo. And yeah, we made this. And I wrote the album at the same time.
Well, two great projects. Now, thank you so much for coming onto the show. We're about to wrap up. Now, remember, KeiyaA's new album, Hooke's Law, is out on the 31st of October. Where can we see you in Europe anytime soon? Do you have any dates coming up for us?
Yeah, I have a few festival dates all over Europe. I'm playing at Uber Jazz in Hamburg. I'm also playing at Le Guess Who, which I'm really excited about. And then I have a headline show in London at Corsica Studios on the 13th.
Amazing. Okay, well, check this out, guys. And before we go, enough time to tell you about another set of shows not to miss, and that's from the father of Ethiopian jazz, or Ethio jazz, called Mulatu Astatke. He's embarked on his farewell tour after 6 decades in the music industry. You can catch him at Salle Pleyel in Paris this week. The 82-year-old has also dropped his first major studio album in 10 years called Mulatu Plays Mulatu, and it's a new interpretations of some of his classics. We'll leave you with a taste of one of his recent live performances right here in Paris. For more arts and culture, you can head to our website. There's more news coming up on France 24 right after this.